Trans Talk 2024. This is the podcast show. In this episode, I'm joined by Harold Zamt again from Polar. Welcome, Harold.
Thanks, Zane. Good to be here.
And we're talking about knowing the race, knowing the Transpan. It sounds weird, but it's not just a normal race. There's a few elements of the race that people need to understand and know to be able to be prepared for this race. And I think let's dive straight into that. The first element is that, do you know that the route's not marked? And it's a self-navigation route, and I think we've said this now a couple of times in this series, but it's still relevant to understand that we do not mark the route. Harold, there's only really 2 or 3 spots where they can really go wrong.
Yeah, there are probably, in my opinion, two main turns that you could get wrong, and the issue is you arrive at those turns very far into the race, so you're fatigued, tired, you're maybe not thinking about things too much, you're not paying attention to what route you've loaded onto your device in front of you on your handlebars, and you're not following the strip map or something like that. So there are really two, just after Hadley, checkpoint 5 is the first one off the tar road, and then the Y Fork. The
infamous Y Fork.
The infamous Y Fork, which personally I've also taken the wrong turn before and gone in the wrong direction. So those are the two main turns, but I think it's a good idea to have an understanding of the route where you're going, especially if it's your first time. And yeah, my personal suggestion is pay attention after checkpoint 5, make sure you don't go wrong, because it could be a long ride in the dark to nowhere.
Yeah, and I think the thing about that is also, like in the beginning, the first up to checkpoint 5, which is at 176 kilometers, there's no real navigation involved. It's the main road through the Baviaanskloof, nothing to it. You're just going straight. But then after 175 Ks, you're quite tired. And then to now focus on navigation is important. And then when you looked at it the night before on the computer, all of a sudden doesn't look as easy, where to turn, what to do, and that sort of thing. So it's really like almost making those distance stamps in your mind about, at this point we're turning right, and at this point we're keeping left and not going onto the Y Fork. That sort of thing is pre-planning that.
And remember, there's some guys have also missed the checkpoint on Bergplaats.
A lot of them do. Yeah.
That turn is also, although it seems obvious, again, you might be quite tired. You've just finished the MAC and you've now got to turn up to that checkpoint. You can't believe that the race organizer is taking you up this trail all the way up to Bergplaats. So some have missed there as well. So those are probably the 3 areas where you could potentially go wrong. The Bergplaats one, you're missing a checkpoint, which is obviously not a good idea, but not that catastrophic that you're riding in the wrong direction. You're still on the route. But those are really the 3 that you need to pay attention to. Yeah. So get hold of the GPX file, upload it onto your device, and follow that. Make sure your device has enough battery life to take you through the event so that you can see when the turns are coming, and you should be fine.
Yeah, exactly. Then the other aspect of this event is obviously it's a team event. You're riding as a team. It's important to stay with each other, and you have to check in and out of the checkpoints. The checkpoints are not just water points that you can just pass. You need, and you just said this with Bergplaats as well, you need to go in there and check. The only one that you're allowed to skip if you don't feel like it is the very first checkpoint 1, which is Vero's at about 52 Ks in the race. We've taken away the checkpoint function there because it's large groups and bunch riding coming in there. But from checkpoint 2 onwards, you need to check in. And you get that token or on a lanyard. It's a round token that needs to, it's pretty old school, but you need to get a sticker at every checkpoint.
And I think it's important to mention as well that you need to check in and out with your teammate, because that's also a safety aspect. It's a safety consideration, but you can't just have one of you checking in and out. Your teammate has to be with you, or if you've got more than one teammate, obviously they all need to be with you together.
Yeah.
So the volunteers working at the checkpoints, they spend long hours there make it easy for them. Make sure you have all your teammates with you when you come in and when you leave the checkpoint as well.
And that token we don't give to you at registration. We only give it to you, to the riders at the start line. We put it over the neck. And it's also an important thing to think about is who's going to carry the token. Is it the most responsible guy? Is it the fastest guy? Is it the slowest guy? But that person needs to be identified carrying that token all the way through.
Yeah, but I think the team aspect to this is what makes the event, riding as a team. It's not like this in every event out there that you might be doing, and it just makes it really unique and quite enjoyable, actually.
Okay, and now the question popped up before we went into this episode is we've now got a solo category, and we've now illustrated how the team needs to work together and go through a checkpoint. Now it's a two-man team, and you lose a member. You can't carry on, you on your own. It's important to understand that you have not entered as a solo rider and you cannot continue the race as a solo rider. You need to, how the rules work with Transpan is you need to join another team. So you can still continue. Your team will get disqualified because you're not finished, but you as an individual will get the time and the recognition and your medal that you finished the race. But you need to join another team. And that sometimes could be quite tricky to find a team that will allow you to ride with them. But most of the time, if that's like at midnight in the night, there's a lot of teams that will just welcome you in.
Yeah, and I think the consideration there, and some people might sort of have this question already: why can they not continue as a solo rider? And really, the solo riders already have 5 years under the belt, 5 years, finished the race 5 years, and they have the experience to be riding solo. That's why they're in that category. And potentially, if the rule was not implemented, you could have someone that's their first year or second year, and then they're riding by themselves, and that again could be a bit of a risk from a safety perspective.
And secondly to that is also all the solo riders will be riding with a GPS tracker so that we can see and monitor where they go and how they progress through the race. And we won't have trackers for solo riders to just start being a solo mid-race. So it's an important element to understand.
Yeah.
Okay, then the next thing is the crates. So we've got these crates. They are 22 liters in size. They're fairly large. This is a 500 ml goo water bottle, and that's more or less the size of the bottle. Let me just try and put it a bit better. And for the guys that's just listening in, we've got the description of the box or the crate on our website, and also it's basically 22 liters, and you will see we'll also pop the measurements of the exact internal measurements of the box onto this in the comments here, and also onto our website of what the box is. But firstly, to understand, you get 3 boxes. You get one for checkpoint 2
Per team.
3 boxes per team. Thanks, Harold. That's important. And also, if you are a team of 2, a team of 3, or a team of 4, it's 1 box per checkpoint, or 3 boxes in total. So you don't get more boxes.
So a team of 4 shouldn't pack the kitchen sink, eh?
That's the thing. But they've got the benefit again of having 4 members and helping each other. They can carry more gear between them, and that's why we keep the same size box all the way through. 2 members can have a bit more space, but then let's run through where they're available. They're available at checkpoint 2, which is Zandvlakte, and that is at about just over 100. It's about 102 kilometers in the race is the first point. The reason why these crates came into the race, and we've discussed this in previous episodes when we talked about the history of the race, is in the early days we allowed support drivers to come through with vehicles all the way through, but it got so messy. The roads are quite narrow through Baviaanskloof, so we developed the system of you being able as a rider to send your box. So checkpoint 2, 102 kilometers. Checkpoint 3, which is Smitskrol, just before the long water crossing at 123 kilometers. And then checkpoint 4, which is Bergplaas, at basically 140 kilometers. Those are the 3 spots you get to the boxes. Harold, we've seen a new trend lately. Do you take all the boxes? Do you use all 3 boxes?
I have in the past. Last few years, I haven't. I haven't used the boxes, but definitely my teammates have used the boxes. So it's a choice thing, because obviously if I'm not using the boxes, I need to carry everything with me, clothing, food, that type of thing. What I think the boxes are quite handy for is, especially on Bergplaats, to get a change of clothing. So up there, a lot of us get up there when it's already dark, and to have a change of clothing, dry clothing, to come down the mountain. So very handy from that perspective. The other consideration obviously is will you put your lights into the box, or will you start with your lights? Yeah. It's always a tricky question, because you are effectively going to ride for in the region of 5 to 6 hours with your lights on your bike, and you might want to put them in the box. But then unpredictable things can happen. You could have mechanicals, you could be caught out in the dark. Seen quite a number of teams caught without lights out there. So it's really that consideration. My personal recommendation is, the lights are so good, they're so light these days, just put them on to start with, and then you don't have to worry about that anymore. But where the crates come in is with nutrition. You can't carry all the nutrition, as we've discussed, for the whole event, especially if you want personal nutrition. You have your personal preferences, whichever goo you want to use, or gels, or whatever the case might be. So super handy for that sort of thing. So personally, I don't use it. I use a hydration pack with some extra packing space, have everything in there, and I'm confident that I've always got everything I need with me all the time. But it's also, they are super handy to throw in some kit that you no longer need to get it to the finish as well.
Exactly. And also for that unforeseen circumstances, you might have had a breakdown, you could put in some extra spares there that you'd feel would be unnecessary to carry, but at least you know at that checkpoint there's a new chain or a new tire or whatever you might. Our checkpoints are pretty well equipped, but there is always a chance that we don't have what you need, and if you have it in the box, then it's available. The light thing, while we touched on it, and we'll go into lights more in the future episodes, but the light, I agree completely with you. Put it on your handlebar. It's not only about carrying it for in case something goes wrong and you're running out of lights. What I find, and I've seen it many times at Bergplaats, is the faffing of putting the lights on during the night or when you got there. It's normally cold at Bergplaats. You've changed to kit. You've had now 3 cups of soups. Your hands are cold, and you're struggling to put the damn light onto the handlebar, and then as soon as you drop down the first downhill, the Big Dipper, it rattles loose around the first corner, and then you stop again, and it's just an endless faff. If you've done that the night before, you made sure all your screws on the Extreme Lights is a great product, the mount, how it fits, everything is good, then it's you've now added your race number board, you've got your device on the handlebar. It's also about planning your handlebar and having your handlebar set up already in advance. And you might want to have a top tube bag for food, but then where's the battery now going at at 8 o'clock?
Nothing wrong with putting a spare light or an extra light just in case into one of your crates, so that you have that peace of mind. Okay, I do have a spare one should my light that I'm carrying fail. But these days, they are made pretty much bomb-proof. So
exactly. All right, then I think the last element of knowing the race and the difference between Trans and other races is the support driver. So I touched on it just now, where we used to have support drivers go all the way through the kloof with you, but now we have the support driver option that is available from checkpoint 5 onwards. There's actually only 2 checkpoints, checkpoint 5 and checkpoint 7, where the support driver can support you. But the idea of a support driver is also to understand that they form part of the team. And Harold, you've ridden many races without a support driver and also many races with a support driver. Your take on a support driver?
First of all, I salute them. It's a long day. They're at the start at 10 in Willowmore, and then have to drive the long loop around. So they're in for a long day. If they can have not do it by themselves, have a partner with them or someone that's a friend, that helps already. and also considering that in a lot of cases you'll be up late at night as well. So it's take my hat off to them for support drivers. They are motivationally, I think, from if you're having a bad spot or to motivate you, they're fantastic for that. I cannot believe the enthusiasm we see at the shed at Checkpoint 5 every year with the support drivers, even though it's late at night. They're there to follow their riders and to support them. So it's a really nice concept to try and bring everyone that you've possibly come down to the event with to involve them in the race. But please warn them that it can be, if they've never done it before, it can be a long day, a long night.
Yes.
But I think it's well worth it. So appreciate them, show them the appreciation that they deserve, because they can play a really important part and possibly be carrying things at those checkpoints where they are, carrying things that personal preferences that you might have, that extra warm layer that you may not have packed, they could have in the car for you. So they play a crucial role and are very valuable when you do have them. It's not crucial to have them.
Yes.
You can do without, but you will miss that element.
Yeah, I think the support driver, also what you need to understand out of a rule point of view, is also part of the team. The support driver can actually get you disqualified. So it's important to understand once you've made that decision that they also briefed on what their role is and what they do. They have to check in and out at the race, at the checkpoints. They also get their own lanyard and card. They have to check in and out. And once they're committed to do that, they have to go to both checkpoints and the finish.
Yes.
To make sure it's official finish for the team. So it's also something that you need to make sure that your support driver, that you select the right person.
Don't they have to check in at the finish as well?
As well,
yeah.
yes, at the finish as well. But it adds a lot of value, and I've seen a lot of teams get new energy when they see their support at Checkpoint 5. You've just conquered the big wilderness area, and you're back in there, and it's a real great feeling to have a support.
Yeah, it's definitely motivational, for sure.
I think that's it from us for this episode of Knowing the Race. Let us know if there's anything else that you need from us to know the race more. Is there more questions? We'll gladly answer them in the comments below. And that was the episode. Send us that memorabilia. Send us your stories. Hit the like and subscribe. Thank you, Harold.
Thanks, Zane.
Cheers, guys.